Let's be honest. Every spring, millions of us participate in the exact same gardening madness. We march into the local garden center, drop half our paycheck on tiny, fragile seedlings, break our backs tilling the yard, and then spend the next 3 months praying the summer heat doesn't fry everything to a crisp. It's exhausting. And if you're tired of the annual garden rat race, what if I told you there's a cheat code? What if you could plant your veggies exactly once and harvest them for the next 10 or even 20 years? No annual seeding, no tilling, and no more throwing your money away every spring. Welcome back to the channel. Today, we're talking about the ultimate lazy gardener flex, edible perennials. I'm going to show you incredible plants, from indestructible roots that laugh at freezing winters to massive tropical vines that eat the summer heat for breakfast. And to make it super easy, we're going to break them down into 6 perfect planting zones for your yard. So grab your coffee, hide your rototiller, and let's get into it. Before we unleash the beasts of Zone 1, let's talk climate. The incredible plants in this Invaders group are basically indestructible. Whether you live in a mild region or you are battling the freezing, snow-dumping winters of USDA Zone 3, these guys will survive. They literally laugh at sub-zero temperatures. So, let's meet the rule breakers. Number 1, Jerusalem artichoke, or as some call it, the sunchoke. Picture this, a plant that shoots up 10 feet tall and creates a solid, impenetrable wall of greenery. It makes an absolutely amazing natural windbreak if you plant it along your fence line to block the breeze and maybe your nosy neighbors. But beware, because under the ground, this thing spreads like absolute wildfire. If you just plant it and walk away, it will take over your entire yard. To keep it from eating your garden, you have to bury barriers like thick metal sheets or heavy plastic about 2 feet deep all around the bed. Why go through all this trouble? Because the tubers are fantastic. They are sweet, super crunchy, and packed with inulin, which is amazing for your health. Plus, they survive freezing winters easily. Number 2, horseradish. This is an indestructible vitamin C powerhouse and nature's very own spicy antibiotic. It is fantastic for your health and clears your sinuses instantly. But here is the massive warning label. If you just stick this innocent-looking root directly into the ground, your great-grandchildren will still be fighting it. It literally regenerates from the tiniest piece of root left in the dirt. The trick to outsmarting it is simple but crucial. Get a large plastic bucket, cut the bottom completely off, bury the bucket in the dirt, and plant your horseradish inside it. This keeps the spreading roots trapped in maximum security. It completely laughs at the freezing cold, and if you wait to harvest it after the first hard frost, the spicy flavor becomes incredibly intense. Number 3, Turkish rocket. This is an absolute Spartan warrior of a plant. You can stick it in the driest, poorest, most miserable soil on your property where absolutely nothing else will grow, and it will still thrive. Unlike the other 2 invaders, it doesn't spread underground. Its secret weapon for total world domination is aggressive reseeding. The rule here is strict. You have to chop off the flower stalks before they drop their seeds everywhere. But here is the incredibly cool part. Right before those yellow flowers open, the buds look and cook exactly like regular broccoli, but with a fantastic spicy mustard kick. It easily survives brutal winters completely unprotected. Just harvest those young leaves early in the spring, chop off the flowers, and let it do its resilient thing. Moving on to our second group, the architectural giants. If you are gardening anywhere from the freezing chill of USDA Zone 3 all the way up to a warm Zone 8, these massive plants are going to be your absolute best friends. They need space, they love the sun, and they don't care about a hard winter freeze. Let's look at the heavyweights. Number 1, rhubarb. This is a true garden heavyweight and a total showstopper. Its massive, dinosaur-sized leaves mean it needs at least a 3 by 3 foot space all to itself. So give it the VIP real estate it deserves. You plant this giant for one main reason: those thick, sweet and sour red stalks that make the absolute best early spring pies and crumbles. It sleeps through the coldest winters without an issue, waking up before everything else. But here is the massive warning label, guys. You only eat the stalks. The giant leaves are completely toxic, so toss them straight into the compost. And a quick pro tip, never cut the stalks with a knife. Always grab them near the base and give them a gentle twist and pull so the remaining stump doesn't rot and ruin your beautiful plant. Number 2, lovage. If you love cooking and want to level up your soups, this plant will literally replace half the jars in your spice cabinet. It is an absolute monster of an herb that grows into a massive 6-foot-tall bush. Think of it as a living, breathing bouillon cube packed with intense celery and savory flavors. The running joke is that one single lovage plant is more than enough to feed your family, your extended relatives, and your entire street. You definitely don't need a whole field of this stuff. It's incredibly cold hardy and practically takes care of itself. Just plant it in the back of a garden bed so it doesn't block the sun for your smaller plants, and trim off the flower stalks when they appear to keep those wonderfully aromatic leaves tender all season long. Number 3, asparagus. This right here is the true aristocrat of the garden and the ultimate long-term investment. A properly planted, dedicated asparagus patch can keep producing food for 20 years. That is 2 whole decades of free gourmet spears that usually cost a fortune at the grocery store. In the spring, you harvest those delicious shoots, but you have to stop by early summer. Why? Because the plant transforms into tall, beautiful, fluffy green ferns. And here is the absolute golden rule. You cannot cut those ferns down until late fall. They might look a bit wild, but that green foliage is busy acting like solar panels, feeding the root system so it survives the winter and gives you another massive harvest next spring. It is a lesson in patience, but it pays off beautifully. Number 4, sea kale. This is a visually stunning plant with wide, waxy, blue-green leaves that look incredibly dramatic in any landscape. In the wild, it grows right on the coastal beaches, so it absolutely demands excellent drainage and full sun. It hates sitting in spring puddles. You grow this beauty for the young spring shoots, which taste like an amazing gourmet cross between asparagus and fresh hazelnuts. But if you want to get that 5-star restaurant flavor, you have to do a little magic trick. As soon as the new shoots start poking through the soil in the spring, you must cover them with a dark, opaque bucket. This forces them to grow in total darkness, a process called blanching. It makes the shoots incredibly tender, sweet, and absolutely delicious. Before we dive into the dark and shady forest edge zone, let's take a quick time out. If you are already mentally throwing your rototiller in the trash and figuring out exactly where to plant that massive rhubarb, do me a huge favor and smash that like button right now. And if you haven't already, make sure to subscribe to the Smart Garden channel so you never miss another gardening cheat code. Also, I want to hear from you right now. Drop a comment down below and tell me, what USDA hardiness zone are you in? And which of these perennial giants are you brave enough to plant this year? Let's build the ultimate lazy gardener community down there. All right, did you hit subscribe? Awesome. Let's head into the shadows and meet the amazing plants of Zone 3. Before we step into the shadows, let's talk about the climate for Zone 3, the forest edge. If you are gardening anywhere in USDA Zones 3 through 8, this is your ultimate rescue plan for those dark, damp corners under your big trees, where absolutely nothing else survives except moss, sadness, and mosquitoes. Let's turn that wasteland into a food forest. Number 1. Ramps, also known as wild leeks. This is a true forest dweller that absolutely craves the deep shade and rich, decomposing leaf mulch found under old trees or on the dark side of your garage. You don't need any protective metal barriers here. They politely spread into beautiful little green colonies. Why grow them? Because they are the ultimate spring delicacy. They pop up early and give you this incredible gourmet garlic onion flavor that high-end restaurant chefs go crazy for. They laugh at freezing winters and love sleeping under a thick blanket of snow. Just remember one golden rule. When you harvest, never rip out the whole plant. Always leave the bottom leaves intact so the bulbs can recharge their batteries for next year. Number 2. Sorrel. Now, most people make the absolute rookie mistake of planting sorrel right in the middle of a baking hot garden bed. And then they act surprised when it immediately turns tough, bitter, and shoots up ugly flower stalks. Sorrel's big secret is that it actually loves dappled shade. Tucked away from the scorching afternoon sun, it will pump out massive, incredibly tender, and juicy leaves from spring all the way to late fall. It brings a fantastic, bright, lemony zing to your salads and soups. It's completely cold hardy, but it is incredibly thirsty. Even in the shade, you need to water it generously during the summer heat to keep those leaves perfectly crisp. Number 3. Good King Henry. What a name, right? This is an exclusive treat for smart gardeners and the ultimate shade-loving Spartan. It will happily thrive in spots where normal vegetables just turn yellow, cry, and give up on life. Basically, this is your permanent perennial spinach replacement. Plant it in the dark corners behind your shed, but make sure you feed it well. The king has a royal appetite and demands rich soil packed with compost. In the spring, you can even cook the thick young shoots just like gourmet asparagus. It easily survives deep winter freezes, bouncing back every single year without you ever having to buy seeds again. Number 4. Groundnut, also known as Apios americana. Let's finish this shady zone with a total curveball. This isn't a leafy green. It is actually a beautiful, climbing, edible vine. In the wild, it grows near rivers, so it desperately wants consistent moisture and nice partial shade. Give it an old trellis, a chain-link fence, or a dead tree branch to climb on. But the real magic happens underground. It produces these amazing, high-protein tubers that grow on a string, exactly like a necklace of beads. Roasted or boiled, they taste like a delicious cross between a baked potato and a roasted peanut. If you live in a colder zone, just make sure to give the base of the vine a very thick blanket of mulch before winter hits, so the tubers stay nice and cozy. Stepping out of the shadows and into the spotlight, let's talk about the climate for Zone 4, which I call the edible borders. The amazing onions in this group are tough as nails, happily thriving anywhere from a freezing Zone 3 all the way to a warm Zone 9. However, we have one special diva at the very end of this list that requires a clever little climate hack if you get harsh winters. Let's look at the plants that belong right in the front row. Number 1. Chives. These are the absolute aristocrats of the garden border. You want to plant these front and center, along your walkways, edging your raised beds, or right in the middle of your ornamental flower garden. They are incredibly well behaved, forming neat, tight little green clumps that never try to aggressively take over the yard. The flavor is a delicate, mild, onion-garlic blend that is perfect for eggs and salads. Plus, they produce these stunning, fluffy purple flowers that attract bees and are completely edible. They laugh at freezing winters without any protection. The only secret? Don't be gentle. Give them a brutal haircut almost down to the dirt 3 or 4 times a season, and they will immediately bounce back with incredibly tender new growth. Number 2. Welsh onion and sloping onion. Let's put these two classic brothers together. You want to plant them right near your patio or outdoor kitchen, so you always have fresh greens for your barbecue. They stay perfectly in their lane, growing in neat rosettes. The Welsh onion gives you that classic, punchy scallion flavor incredibly early in the spring. The sloping onion has beautiful, flat, slightly twisted leaves with a fantastic mild garlic kick and is absolutely packed with iron. Both are total Spartans that can freeze solid in the winter dirt and wake up perfectly fine. But here is the maintenance difference. The sloping onion will happily sit in the exact same spot for decades, while the Welsh onion gets a little grumpy and needs to be dug up and divided every 3 years to stay productive. Number 3. Egyptian walking onion. If you want to absolutely blow the minds of your gardening friends, you need to plant this. This is pure garden avant-garde. You don't need to build underground bunkers to control this one because it doesn't spread underground. It literally travels through the air. Instead of normal flowers, it grows heavy clusters of mini onions at the top of tall stalks. Eventually, they get so heavy that the stalk bends over, the little bulbs hit the dirt, instantly take root, and the plant literally takes a step across your garden bed. It survives bitter cold winters standing straight up. If you don't want it marching into your neighbor's yard, just harvest those top-setting bulbs before they fall. They're incredibly crunchy, spicy, and absolutely perfect for pickling. Number 4. Perennial kale. Let's finish the border zone with something truly special. This plant looks like a gorgeous, decorative little bush with beautifully frilled leaves, constantly pumping out superfood greens for your morning smoothies. But hit the brakes, because here is the massive climate warning. Unlike our indestructible onions, this lady is a bit of a tender diva. If you live in USDA Zone 7 or above, congratulations, you can leave it in the ground all year. But if you live in a harsher climate with deep winter freezes, the cold will completely destroy it. The ultimate hack? Plant it in a large, stylish container. Keep it on your patio all summer, and right before the hard freeze hits, carry that pot into a cool, sunny, enclosed porch. Keep plucking the lower leaves, and it will feed you fresh greens all winter long. Before we dig into Zone 5, let's talk about the climate for the deep root beds. The incredible root veggies we are about to look at are amazingly cold-hardy, surviving perfectly from a freezing Zone 3 all the way down to a warm Zone 9. But their survival isn't really about the weather overhead. It is entirely about the dirt underneath. This zone is strictly for the garden gourmets who don't mind doing a little heavy lifting up front. Number 1. Scorzonera and salsify. You might know these by their classic names, black oyster plant and white oyster plant. Let me be perfectly clear. You only plant these in a bed where you have rolled up your sleeves and dug down deep, removing every single rock and clump of hard clay. If you plant them in heavily compacted dirt, you won't pull up a nice straight root. You will dig up a twisted, ugly octopus. So why do we put in all this back-breaking effort? Because the flavor is an absolute gourmet masterpiece. Historically called the poor man's asparagus, when you cook these roots, they release an incredible, savory flavor that actually tastes remarkably like mild oysters or artichoke hearts. They are completely bulletproof against freezing winter weather. In fact, here is the ultimate chef's secret. Do not harvest them all in the fall. Leave a bunch of them right in the frozen ground over the winter. The extreme cold actually makes them incredibly sweet for a fresh spring harvest. Number 2. Chinese artichokes, also known as crosnes. This is the absolute weirdo of the underground garden, but in the very best way possible. Unlike the deep-diving oyster plants, their tubers grow pretty close to the surface, but you still need incredibly loose, fluffy soil. Why? Because in the fall, you have to go on a treasure hunt through the dirt to find them, and sifting through heavy clay for these little guys is a total nightmare. They look exactly like strange, pearly white grubs, or little seashells, which makes them a hilarious conversation starter at dinner. When it comes to texture, they are a crunchy masterpiece, tasting like a perfect mix between a water chestnut and a mild radish, making them ideal for quick stir-fries or fancy pickles. They survive the winter just fine, but the most important life hack you will ever hear is this. Never, ever try to peel these with a knife. Just toss them in a plastic bag with a handful of coarse rock salt, rub them around vigorously, rinse them with water, and they are perfectly clean and ready to eat. Now, let's completely flip the script. For our final group, Zone 6, we are talking about the endless summer. If you are gardening down in USDA Zones 8 through 11, freezing to death is not your problem. Your problem is figuring out how to stop your vegetables from turning into crispy potato chips by mid-July. So let's look at the tropical elite, plants that absolutely laugh at the blazing summer sun. Number 1, chayote. Let's kick it off with a monster. Forget those weak little zucchini plants. This is a massive perennial vine with an almost alien growth speed. In a single season, it can easily swallow your garage, your patio pergola, and maybe your neighbor's fence if you blink. Underground, it stays put, but above ground, you will need to aggressively prune it back with clippers just to keep it polite. The coolest part is how you plant it. There are no tiny seeds. You literally buy a beautiful, whole chayote from the grocery store. Let it sprout a green shoot right on your kitchen counter, and bury the entire fruit halfway into the dirt. Eat it raw for a crispy cucumber apple crunch, or fry it up for the most tender, flavor-absorbing side dish ever. Number 2, Malabar spinach. What happens to regular spinach when the summer heat waves hit? It bolts, turns bitter, and completely ruins your salad. Enter Malabar spinach, Plant this absolute beauty in the most brutally hot, blazing sun you can find. Give it a sturdy vertical trellis, and just watch the show. It produces these stunning ruby red stems and thick, glossy, wax-like leaves. And here is the ultimate chef's secret. When you cook these leaves, they have a slight jelly-like texture, making them the most incredible natural thickener for soups, stews, and curries without needing any cornstarch. As long as the temperature stays above freezing, this gorgeous vine will keep growing and feeding you for years. Number 3. Moringa. Now you might be yelling at the screen, "Hey, moringa is a tree, not a vegetable." And yes, in the wild, it easily rockets up to 30 feet tall. But clever gardeners have figured out the ultimate hack to grow it as a manageable perennial bush. Plant it in the absolute driest, hottest, and poorest dirt you have. It honestly despises too much water. To keep it from launching into the stratosphere, grab some heavy shears and brutally chop it down to chest height every couple of months. It won't die. It will immediately explode with fresh, tender new branches. This is officially one of the most nutrient-dense plants on Earth. Throw these leaves into your morning smoothie for more protein than yogurt and more calcium than milk. Number 4. Taro, also known as elephant ears. Do you have a low spot in your yard that always floods, stays a muddy mess, and breeds mosquitoes? Perfect. Plant your taro right in the swamp. It loves wet mud and scorching heat. In return, it gives you massive tropical leaves that are literally the size of elephant ears, plus heavy underground tubers that taste like a sweet, nutty potato. But listen closely, because this is a major safety warning. You absolutely cannot eat any part of the taro plant raw. It contains sharp, microscopic crystals that will make your mouth burn like fire. But don't panic. After about 20 minutes of boiling or baking, those crystals completely break down, turning this intimidating root into an incredibly delicious and completely safe superfood. There you have it, the ultimate blueprint for a garden that basically takes care of itself. Your back is officially saved from the endless spring digging, and you are ready to harvest fresh food for years to come, while your neighbors are still out there struggling and sweating with their rototillers. Now it is your turn, and I want to hear from you. Jump down into the comments and let me know. What is your USDA hardiness zone? And which of these perennial powerhouses are you going to plant first? Are you going to risk it with the invading Jerusalem artichokes, or play it safe with some beautiful chives along your walkways? I want to read all your plans down there, so let's build the ultimate lazy gardener community in the comments. If this video saved you a little bit of future back pain and money, do me a huge favor and smash that like button. Make sure you are subscribed to the channel so you never miss another gardening cheat code. And click the video on your screen right now for even more smart ways to grow your own food. Plant smart, save your energy, and I will see you in the next one.